Alright team, welcome back to another episode. Hope we are doing fantastic. Today's just going to be a bit of a ramble one. I've been thinking about this topic for a decent number of weeks now, and trying to perfect it, trying to map it on a whiteboard of what I want to say, how I want to say it, etc., etc. But then I was thinking, hold on a minute, I'm a very real bloke. I usually say things as they are, and don't necessarily write a million and one things different down to make it all pristine and neat, put a little bow on it, and then give it out. I think there's some benefit of just fucking throwing yourself in the deep end and just having a conversation, and hopefully whatever I end up saying out of my very big blonde mouth, hopefully it makes some sense. So we shall see. This concept was kind of inspired by the Real McCoy podcast. McCoy Turner, absolute legend. I think I mentioned him on a previous episode. He has been a mentor of mine through my level 1, I believe. Level 1 CrossFit. This was fucking years ago. Great guy. But what he talked about was working in. All right, and it's weird because it seems like we're both going through the revelation at the same time, and I've always used working out, so training, physical exertion, this sympathetic nervous system, this fight or flight adrenaline nervous system, as the way of coping, the way of being able to deal with a lot of things. Which is great because, it provides you with an outlet to be able to get out of your head and hopefully be some sort of a quote-unquote normal human being after you've used that energy into a constructive manner. But at the same time, you're always relying on this fight, flight, fuck or freeze mentality. And it gets to a point where it starts taking things away from you. It starts bleeding you dry. As we know, there's only a certain amount of adrenaline and cortisol in our body throughout the day. We can't just bleed it dry and just keep going. If you take a shot of adrenaline, it's not going to last you forever. It will end up dispersing, and then you'll run out. So it had me thinking. I was like, right, okay, well, working out helps me for a specific amount of time, and I can deal with those things and hopefully be a better person because of it, and obviously healthier too. But if we just take the mental side in isolation and take it out of the bigger picture, hopefully I'll be a better human because of it. But at the same time, you're like, well, that's going to be a very minute proportion of the day, right? It's not going to be very lasting. And after like 13 years of lifting weights and like over 16, nearly 17 years, I think, of like competitive sport and kind of training for a purpose and all that, it gets to a stage where it's not as potent as it used to be. I can't go out and train or hit the bag or weightlift, do whatever, and feel completely drained at the end of it and clean of all mental anguish. There's going to be some things that are left over. So this whole concept of working in, I mean, we find time to work out, right? We make time to work out no matter how busy our schedule is. It's a priority. Like, your health should be a priority. Healthy body, healthy mind, healthy body. The synergy between those two usually means your relationships are a little bit healthier because you're less aggy, you're less prone to arguments and all that type of shit. I know personally I'm probably a lesser evolved human. Like, if I don't fucking move around, then I'm a miserable asshole to be around. And hopefully progressing through life and maturity, I'm able to pinpoint that at an earlier date, and I can also voice that and be like, hey, this is how I feel, blah blah blah. Open dialogue, Tim. Open dialogue for me is what we need. We need more of it. We need more conversations. We need, hey, this is what it's like on my side. What's it like on your side? Like, I'm not going to know what it's like on your side because I'm not fucking there. Or I've never been there. Or I'm not a female. Or I'm not 70. I didn't live through that. I'm, not absolutely wadded. I'm not black. Like, I'm a white male. So I'm not going to know what it's like to be on the other side. So it's approaching that conversation with open arms. Be like, hey, you're going to say some things and I'm probably going to ask some questions about it so I can further my understanding, so we can create this melting pot in the middle, what we call conversations, this beautiful little bit in the middle where we'll just end up stirring it up, and hopefully we've connected on a deeper level, and we've also taken something away from this that can then go further our education for other people, further our own education, and just allow relationships to develop, whether it's romantic or platonic, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just open communication is the way to go. Ignorance is the source of all pain, and it's fucking correct. You go to talk to anyone that quote unquote hates another group of society or hates another nationality or whatever. I'm like, well, have you ever been there? No. Okay. Have you ever had a deep conversation with anyone from there? No. Right? Well, how the fuck are you supposed to know what it's like? Oh, I saw on the media. Well, we know the media's biased. And it's going to be one side of a narrative. So, I don't understand how you can just completely tar with them with the same brush. It doesn't make any sense. So, open dialogue is where it comes from. Bit of a tangent yet again, but you know what I'm like. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. I like to chat a lot of shit, as you've probably just realised over the past 2 minutes. So working in team, and finding time, making time to work in. I've started messing around with a lot of meditation. Personally, I like it, trying to find some calm. I've always thought of myself as just like a nervous person. I didn't know what anxiety was as a kid. I wouldn't label myself as that, but that's just how my brain works. I don't personally like labels. I don't want to give myself any opportunity to rest on that laurel, rest on that label, blah, blah, blah. I think we all experience feelings, but I don't think we are our feelings. Just because you are experiencing a lot of anxiety at the moment does not mean you are anxiety or you are an anxious person, in my opinion. Simply because I wouldn't want to give myself that get out of jail free card, to say it's okay, you can rest on this laurel. However, yes, you've got to be able to get off your own back sometimes and allow yourself a little bit of slack. If you're personally, I get a lot more depressed and down rather than anxious. I've experienced in the past and in the present a lot of anxiety, yeah, granted. But if we map it out as a whole, I usually get experience a lot more down days than anxious days. But I wouldn't label myself as having depression or I am depressed. I'll be like, I feel depressed right now, or I feel down right now, or I just feel melancholy or slumber or whatever it is. But I wouldn't label myself as that, because then it's kind of creating this cage that you've put yourself in, and sometimes it's hard to get out of. We talk to ourselves all the time, and it's hard to get out of those ruts sometimes. So personally, for me, I don't like creating that cage. Obviously, other people do like it, and it provides them with some comfort, and it aids them to be able to get out of that cage, which is absolutely fantastic. So if that's you, keep doing that. Again, everything's just a dialogue, right? This is my side. I'd love to hear your side with everything that we talk about on the podcast, whether it's me personally or whether it's talking with a guest. Literally, even from, how you have your fucking coffee, right down to the nitty-gritty, really specific niche topics, and even the really deep topics. I'd love to hear everyone's opinions, and their experiences. That's how we fucking grow. I'd love to. I do realize I have a very small blonde brain, and the only thing that I know is I know nothing. I think that was Socrates who said that, but don't quote me. So working in, I've been doing a lot of my own meditation, trying to find that calm, trying to balance out that anxiety and stillness and calmness and just being. I do have a very busy brain all the time. I've got so many ideas going around, and I also forget a lot of them, like with all the concussions and the bad memory and the Alzheimer's in the family probably doesn't help either. But the concussions is definitely the main one. I forget a lot of them, so they're always whizzing around in my head because I'm like, oh, I've got to remember this, got to remember that. I can't forget this, I can't forget that. And it's just taking the time to, if you forget it, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's all right. If you don't remember this, or you remember it 2 days later, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Like, I'm gonna concentrate on my breathing. I'm gonna go for deep breathing. So I'm gonna breathe into my diaphragm. I'm gonna breathe right down into the belly. I'm gonna expand it out. I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna contract, and I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna do a bit of box breathing. So 4 seconds inhale, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds exhale, 4 seconds hold, and I'll continue on. And at the same time, I'll try and blank out my mind and try and feel that aura of stillness, of just being, of just appreciating a time in a day where it's just me and I'm trying to find some sort of calm. A good friend of mine just told me, like, you got to be able to find some sort of calm during the day, and that's really important. It's something that I hadn't really thought about, and again, it goes back to conversations. Without conversing about this, I wouldn't know that side. So it's really important. And there, I've also tried to do it in other places too. So I went for a hike with one of my good mates, and I went on a pretty sketchy little off route. You kind of like climb up on a fucking rock. I am shit scared of heights. And you manage to scramble yourself right over into this rock that's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and it's kind of like cliff faces, and it's just sheer drops on either side. And I sit down and try and meditate and try and find some source of calm. Like, obviously you don't have to do that, and I'm not saying everyone should go sit on a hill or sit on some sort of rock with a cliff face next to them. But the main one recently, team, that I've been incorporating is the sauna. Like, I'm from a pretty cold place, like northwest of England, Manchester. It gets pretty fucking cold. I thrive in the cold. I look Scandinavian, so somewhere down the bloodline probably comes from somewhere up there. So everything and everywhere I have gone, and it makes me up, thrives in the cold. So I try and find some calm in the opposite. Like, what can I not that I can't do, but what do I struggle with? Struggle with the heat, struggle with breathing in the heat, struggle with staying calm in the heat. Okay, cool. Then we probably need to do that. We probably need to messing around in there. So I go in the sauna, built up to 30 minutes. My max is 32 minutes. Went from 10 to 15 to 20 to 25. No, we missed that 25. Went from 20 to 30, and now it's going up every 1 to 2 minutes. Now it's at 32 minutes, and that's something that was brought in slowly. But it helps my head, and the amount of times I go in there, and as I'm walking in, I don't want to do this. I'm self-loathing. I'm pissed off at myself from past sins. I'm annoyed at the fact where I wasn't as productive as I wanted to be, because I thrive on productivity and always working, boom, working hard. I need a PR every time. I need to fucking crush myself in the gym. I need to crush myself with work. I need to go network. I need to go blah, 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 blah. I need to do everything in the space of 3 hours, which isn't obviously sustainable nor doable. And I go in there, and I'm kind of in a state of like self-loathing, kind of, and I use that term lightly because I don't hate myself, but at the same time, like, there's things that you don't like, right? And the way I see it is I go sit in that sauna and I go punch the shit out of past me. I go punch the shit out of situations, feelings, things I've done, things I've thought about, habits that I'm slipping into, all those things that aren't serving me and serving the people around me and aren't going to benefit me. I take them into the fucking sauna. I have a scrap with them. And when I get out of that, that's it. It's done. I will get out of that sauna, no matter what time it is. If I've taken 32 minutes and I've still not found a sense of calm and I've still not put something to bed, then I will stay in it. And that will, again, piss me off and it will probably make me want to put it to bed a lot quicker. And the fact of, nah, man, you need to put this to bed. You need to shake hands with your devil. You need to be okay with what happened. Be okay with what's gone on. Be okay with the journey that has got you here. And now also only use it in a positive sense. Use it to help you thrive in the future. Yes, chip on your shoulder does provide some motivation, but leave the pain behind. And that's what I use the Working In for, team, is the meditation, the stretching. That's another one I didn't mention, but sometimes ideally I'd make a habit every day, but I've been going in the sauna pretty regularly, so I'm not on my case about it. Stretching, meditation, sauna, getting out into the cold shower, and again finding calmness. Just stand there. It's just feelings, man. Like, never apologize for your feelings, but don't let them own you. Don't let them control you. Like, I live life through my feelings, granted, but at the same time, I can disassociate myself now through the working in whenever I have those days where I'm like, Alex, like, fuck me, man. Like, I start feeling really down, real depressed, real anxious, whatever. Whether it's the huge blood moon that came on and the solar eclipse, or is that moon eclipse? Either or. Huge moon that was in the past week. Or it's a situation, or it's a habit I've formed, or whatever it is. Like, I'll feel really shite. And that's okay. Whatever, man. Waves come in, waves go out twice a day. Just fucking ride them. Sometimes you just need to lie back and just go up and down with the waves, go in and out, no problem. Like, there's always another day. Do something. Just get something done. Wake up and get a coffee. That's it. There's a win. You've got a win for that day. It's alright. Feel yourself through it. Do some working in. Do some working out. And everything's going to work out. So, team, this is a bit of a ramble, but at the same time, it's just a reminder to think a little bit more internally. Think a little bit more analytically at yourself. I'll be like, what habits have I created? What am I doing right now? And is it going to serve me in the future? Is it going to serve the people around me? And find time, make time to work in, not just work out. Great, team. Have a fucking fantastic day. I'll catch you all on the next one. Probably with a guest, so you don't just have to hear me talk into the microphone all the time, which is fantastic. So, peace and love, team. Take it easy and look after your fam. Love.